Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to today's program, which is intended for students of grade 12. Now we will take a break, then we'll be right back. So do stay with us. Welcome back, dear viewers. This lesson is a revision of language functions from Module 1, Unit 1. So let's get started. The language functions we're going to revise today are describing, discussing the law, expressing opinion, comparing and contrasting ideas, making conclusions, agreeing and disagreeing, expressing intention, expressing obligation, presenting arguments, and expressing absence of obligation. Now, let's start with a warming up exercise. We'll start with the language function of advice. Now, let's read this statement or this situation. Look at the pictures. Your friend fell victim to an online identity theft. What would you say in this situation? One of the possible answers is, if you were faced with an identity theft, you should report the case to the police. Notice that here, to give advice, I use the word should. Other words that can be used, or other expressions or language exponents that can be used to express advice is, my advice would be, or I advise you to, or you should, or it's better if you. If I were you, I would. So these language expressions can be used to express advice. Language is so flexible, and therefore you can use many different language expressions to convey a meaning. Now, look at this picture. The lady in the middle says that she feels bored and lonely. Now try to give her some advice. Well, think of this situation. You have a friend who says that he is or she is bored and lonely. Some possible answers: I advise you to go out more often. You can also say, my advice would be to register to a social network and connect with friends. Also, you can say, you should join a health club. It's better if you take up a hobby, which means it's better if you learn something new, an activity to fill in your spare time. Now, let's talk about expressing opinion. One of the expressions doesn't convey opinion. Try to find it out and cross it. So, I think that technocrimes should be seriously punished. Now, to express opinion, we can use in my opinion. My opinion is that, I think that, as I see it, I believe that, you must. So remember the question. We said that there is one expression that doesn't belong to the group, is not used to express opinion. Which one? It is you must, because you must is used to express obligation. Okay, let's continue. The same question. One expression doesn't belong to the group. Let's single it out. As far as I can tell, to the best of my knowledge, perhaps it will rain tomorrow. Do you know what I think? I think. I'm fairly certain that. It's quite obvious that. And let me tell you. So one of these expressions cannot be used to convey an opinion. It is, perhaps it will rain tomorrow. Perhaps is used to express guessing. Okay? So Now we'll talk about expressing obligation. Here is a dialogue between a policeman and a driver. Let's go through this dialogue, and I want you to find the expression used by the policeman to express obligation. Okay? The policeman says, "Don't you know that you must stop when the traffic lights are red?" The driver answers, "Sorry, sir, I was so absent-minded that I didn't pay attention to the traffic lights." And the policeman says, "Well, sir, you'll have to pay a fine." There are two expressions which are used by the policeman to convey obligation. The first one is, "You must stop." And the second one is, "You will have to pay." Now, must is used to express obligation, and we can use have to replace it. That is in the present. If I want to talk about the past, then I say had to. You had to pay a fine. And if you want to talk about the future, then you say will have to. Now, here is a statement. Let's read it together. Motorists are obliged to slow down in residential areas. So, to express obligation, we use ought to, should always, need to, have got to. In the next coming sentences, I want you to read the sentence and find the expression that is used to express obligation. Here is the first sentence. I have to finish my homework before this evening. Notice that in this sentence, I used have to express obligation. Now, it's up to you to decide which is the expression used in the sentence. I have got to learn English if I want to live in the USA. Okay, so in this sentence, we use have got to. Next sentence, I must see the doctor soon because I don't feel well. To express obligation, the speaker in this sentence used must. Next sentence, it is obligatory that I stop when the traffic light turns red. It is obligatory that is the expression used here. And last sentence, it is necessary that I take a taxi. I'm late. Okay, so notice here that I have the word or the expression, it is necessary that. Right? We move on to things that you should remember. Now, should also expresses obligation, but there is a difference between must, have to, and should. Must and have to is used for 100% obligation. For example, we say, when the traffic light turns red, you must stop. It's 100% obligation. Now, should is 50% obligation. It is actually more an advice than an obligation. For example, you look tired. You should have a rest. So, should have a rest is an advice rather than an obligation. Okay, we talked about expressing obligation. Now, what if I want to express lack of obligation? When you are not obliged to do something, what are the expressions that I can use to express lack of obligation, or also called absence of necessity? So, to express absence of obligation, speakers usually use don't have to, or don't need to, or needn't. For example, in these sentences, there are some expressions that are used to express absence of obligation. Sentence number 1, I don't have to drive fast. Don't have to is used. Second sentence, I don't need to write the report myself. My secretary can do that for me. So, I don't need to. I'm not obliged, yes, to write the report myself. Next sentence, I needn't buy all these things. So, I needn't buy all these things. The expression used here is needn't. Next sentence, it isn't necessary to take your umbrella. It isn't raining. So, because it isn't raining, then you don't need to take your umbrella. Isn't necessary to is used here to express lack of obligation. The last sentence, I didn't have to tell him about my project. He already knew everything about it. So, didn't have to. Now, complete the following exchange or the following dialogue. In this dialogue, we have a student who is asking the teacher about his homework. So, the teacher says, you don't have to write a long essay. A short one would be okay. The student is going to respond to this utterance made by the teacher. And then the teacher continues and says, no, you needn't do the exercise at home, as we will surely do it together in the next English lesson. Now, let's go through this dialogue again. The teacher says, you don't have to write a long essay. A short one would be okay. So the student says, what about the grammar exercise? Do we need to revise the lesson before we can do it? Notice that the student is asking questions. That's why the teacher will answer with no. And the question that the student should ask is a yes-no question. Therefore, the teacher starts his speech by saying, no, you needn't do the exercise at home, as we will surely do it together in the next English lesson. And then the student finishes his dialogue with the teacher by saying, okay, goodbye, sir. Now let's talk about expressing intention. To express intention, we use expressions like I intend, or my intention is to, or my lifelong dream is to, or I have made up my mind to, or I plan, or simply you use I will. I intend to get a job in public relations next year. I'm talking about next year, what I want to do next year. This is my intention. Okay? It is some sort of a resolution. So here I use I intend to express my intention, my will or my willing to join a job in PR. Next sentence, Mary has high hopes of being promoted. So to express intention, we use here high hopes of. Sentence 3, she has every intention of having or of buying that house. So the expression here is has every intention of. Next sentence, the whole point of doing this is to gain a lot of experience. So the expression is the whole point of doing this. My sister has no thoughts of working for this company. She has no thought of. It means that she has no intention at all of joining this company. Her lifelong dream is to become a chef. So it is a long life dream. Okay? It means she is dreaming, or her ambition is to become a chef. The expression is her lifelong dream. Last sentence, I've made up my mind to write a book. Okay? So here we have I have made up my mind, which means I decided, or I have decided to write a book. Now look at this illustration or photo and try to complete these sentences. The sentence starts like this: my intention to, or I intend to. Try to make this little girl speak. Okay? So one possible sentence would be, my intention is to prepare the best birthday cake ever. Okay? Another sentence in which we express intention is, I intend to make the most delicious pizza. Or she could probably say, I will cook a tasty custard. Please meet Sami Sami has many intentions, many things planned for the future. These are called resolutions or intentions. Okay? So he has written the top 10 intentions or the top 10 things he wants to do in the next coming years. Let's read them together. For example, help others, learn something new, maybe take up a hobby or something, get out of debt, more family time, spending more quality time with his father or with his mother, enjoy life more, buy an iPhone, lose weight, quit smoking, or exercise. So what I want you to do is try to make Sami speak. So write some sentences expressing Sami's intention. A possible answer: I intend to quit smoking. Another sentence, another intention: my intention is to enjoy life more. Another sentence: my ambition is to get organized. Or he can say, I have made up my mind to lose weight. Now we will talk about comparing and contrasting. Okay? So look at these pictures. I'm going to compare many jobs, many careers, and a legal profession of a lawyer or a judge. So to compare all jobs with the legal profession, we can say, in comparison with other careers, with other jobs, the legal profession can be stressful too. It means all other careers can be stressful, and also the legal career. Instead of becoming a lawyer, he became a private detective. Okay? So here I'm using instead of to compare and contrast what he wants to be. On the one hand, playing computer games can be a lot of fun, but on the other hand, it is easy to waste too much time on them. So here I use on the one hand and on the other hand in order to contrast, okay, computer games. Now, after an opinion is given, either you agree with it or you disagree. Now, look at the expressions below to indicate agreement and disagreement. First of all, let's start with expressing agreement. We can say, I agree with you 100%, or that's so true, or that's for sure. You're absolutely right. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. No doubt about it. And I was just going to say that. All these expressions express agreement. Now we will talk about all the expressions expressing disagreement. For example, we use, I don't think so, no way, I'm afraid I disagree, I totally disagree. I'd say the exact opposite, not necessarily, that's not always true, and no, I'm not so sure about that. Now here is a statement. I want you to agree and then disagree with it. So, I think classical music is boring to listen to. Agree. Yes, you said it. To disagree, we say, I couldn't disagree more. Another statement. I think the manager's measures are good. So to agree, I was just about to say that. To disagree, well, we don't see eye to eye on that. Another statement, I like this red jacket. How about you? To agree, we say, it works for me. To disagree, I don't really think that red is your color. Now, what would you say in the following situations? Your teacher asks you whether the main purpose of law is sending people to prison is to punish them or to protect society. One possible answer is to express or to present arguments, to discuss the law, to compare and contrast ideas, or to give your personal opinion about this sentence. Here is an example. In my opinion, sending people to prison is mainly to protect society. Another sentence, your neighbor wants to know if minor problems should be solved in courts or in the court of justice. Here you can express opinion or you can discuss the law. An example, minor litigations should better be solved in a friendly way or amiably. You are planning your holiday. So what would you say in this situation? You can express intention, you can express planning, expressing a wish, discussing a plan, or presenting ideas. Notice the variety of language functions you can use to express a certain situation. So a possible answer could be, I intend to spend 20 days in Thailand this summer. Or you can say, I wish the weather gets better so we could enjoy our holiday. Or you can say, I don't think it's too late to book a ticket to Thailand. I'll call a travel agency to check availability. Now here is another situation. Your little brother doesn't chew his food well. In this situation, you can express your opinion, you can express obligation, or you can give an advice or warning. A possible answer could be, if you carry on binge eating, and binge eating means to eat a lot of food in a very short time without chewing, it's like swallowing your food. If you carry on binge eating, you will get sick. Another possible answer, that's not a healthy habit, you know. You can also say, why don't you take your time and enjoy savoring your food or your meal? Here is another situation. Your sister's laptop got infected with a malicious file, with a virus, okay, slowing down its performance. So what the situation here is that your sister is telling you that she thinks that her computer is infected, she got a virus, and the performance of the computer is so slow. So now you interfere and you could offer help, you could describe, you could express an opinion, you could express lack of obligation, or you can express obligation. A possible answer, you have to update your antivirus. Another answer, let me see what I can do to troubleshoot the problem. To troubleshoot means to try to solve the problem. Now, dear viewers, this lesson has come to an end. I hope you benefited from it. I'm looking forward to seeing you again very soon. Goodbye.